taking some square roots, but this time it's of negative numbers, which normally or used to be a problem that we couldn't solve, and you just put no solution for all of them. But it's not the case, because now we know that we can identify the square root of negative 1 as an I. And that is just the definition of I is the square root of negative 1. That's what, just like pi is 3.14, I is the square root of negative 1. Okay. And it just symbolizes that we are in the imaginary number system. So when you get to number 24, we can separate that into the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 16. We know the square root of 16 is 4, and we also know the square root of negative 1 is I. So the square root of negative 16 is 4I. Same thing with number 25, the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 49. The square root of 49 is 7. 7 times 7 is 49, and I is the square root of negative 1. And as a side note, a little bit of a side note, I squared is negative 1. Because if we square both sides of this, the square and the square root cancel each other out. And all we're left with is I is equal to negative 1. And then I'm going to include number 26 on this one because it has a square root that we need to simplify, but it's not a perfect square. One thing. So that's the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 48. And you can see that practically what we do is if you have a negative under the square root, you just pull out an I, and now it's positive. Square root of 48. So how can we split up the square root of 48? We need to know its factors. And let me pull up my calculator here. So if you didn't know its factors already, one thing you could do is take 48. So you hit y equals on your calculator, which is in the top left corner. Type in 48 divided by x, second graph, and it takes you to a table like this one. And every row in the table represents factors of 48. And we're looking for two where one of them is a perfect square. And I see one here, 4 and 12. All I want to do is check and see if there's a bigger perfect square. And I see it up here. See 3 and 16. 16 is a perfect square. So this would be I square root of 3 times square root of 16. Square root of 16 is 4. So it's 4I square root of 3 is left underneath the square root. And then the last one, we got number 27. The square root of 400 is 20. Since it's negative, it's 20I.